right, we are on filmsgonewild.com. My name is John Wildman, and we are going to talk about the film See You Then. We have the director, Mari Walker. This film is screening at the Bentonville Film Festival. And Mari, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, let's start. I can't wait to dig into this, but let's start this off as we always do and have you introduce our audience to the film. They have not seen it, so tell us about See You Then.
Sure thing. See You Then is a story about two women. It's very much a conversation piece in the vein of the Before series and My Dinner with Andre. And it's a story about a decade after abruptly breaking up with Naomi, Chris invites her to dinner to discuss their complicated lives, relationships, and Chris's transition. And then over the course of one evening, they engage in a series of increasingly intimate and vulnerable conversations until a shocking truth is revealed.
Yeah. Boy, does it ever. All right, now I get to start. All right, I was talking to my wife about the film, and I said, I'm always intrigued by films that, by description or what have you, I'm a genre guy. I love genre films and what have you. And I go, well, it's not necessarily my wheelhouse, but I'm so thrilled that I watched this film or other films, but this one is definitely falls in that category. Because I'm going, film not in my wheelhouse, but man, I just got into it because it's so fucking well done. And I'm going to brag on you a lot while we talk. But here's one thing. Here's what I appreciate about it. Yes, it is very much a standard two-hander in a lot of ways. As this relationship, as it unfolds before our eyes and we learn more and more, there are a number of times where what we've come to expect from films, what we've come to expect that's being delivered to us, we go, oh, the movie ends here. Here's where the movie ends. Because we've had the reveal, we've found, we've had the twist, and not that it's twist kind of thing, like M. Night Shyamalan kind of thing, right? But we have those reveals. We go, oh, now it's very different. Now there's something else. But here's what I thought you did so wonderfully, is that every time I thought, no, I can't. I'm satisfied with what we've learned. I think I can move on. And you're going, oh, not yet, John, not yet, no. Because there's something else, all right? And you go, holy shit, what? So here's my first question. Now that I've gone through all of that, and that is, talk about crafting the delivery of the story so that you set us up for each one of those doors that are opened. And because there's an art to it, there's a challenge to it, and there's an art to it. I want to hear your process and your thinking process to making sure that you did it correctly.
Yeah, I owe a lot of that to our producer and co-writer, Kristen Uno, who helped me so much. One of the reasons why I wanted to tell the story was I really wanted to work on dialogue and character. And I felt like that was two of my weakest points in writing. So I really felt like I wanted to be challenged by the script and really push those boundaries, because it is like we wanted to be very careful about how we set up these moments and how we allow the conversation to continue and hopefully reach a natural conclusion, but also one that is not necessarily expected. And a lot of it was just a lot of writing's rewriting, a lot of reading the script out loud was a big part of it. Like being able to understand the cadence and the timing and the pacing of the script and how the scenes were delivered, which is something I wasn't very fond of because I hate the sound of my own voice. So every time I had to hear myself, I was cringing. But then Kristen felt like the script was right when I finally started reading the character of Chris during one of our final read-throughs. And I started going off book and improvising and improvising as the character of Chris. And she felt like if I got into that rhythm enough, then if we put it in the hands of extremely capable actors, then we'd be able to have something really special.
Here's some, and say out loud the name of our two actors, because they said out loud.
Yeah, Puyo Maseni and Lin Chen.
Right. Brianna and Lin Chen, because they they do everything that you would want them to do. Boy, I mean, and and here's something that also, and I want to get into your work with them, but I want to stop for a moment to also talk about decisions made in the editing bay,
Mm.
because there are a couple moments, in particular, where you stay on a face and you let something wash over them on information they've just gotten, or where someone who's talking and they're oblivious
Mm.
toward the work, toward what's going through that person's mind. And I think it's great. And I think it's great because I've been in those editing bays where a producer is going, no, you need to cut to the next thing, and you go, no, no, no,
Yeah.
there's a reason. There's a reason for this silence. And so talk about that, because again, everybody, and everybody is going to tell you, no, no, cut out of that, cut out
Mm.
of that, pacing, Mari. And you're going, no, I need to communicate something. Talk about that for a moment.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, Puya and Lin gave so many of those moments that it was really like the paradox of choice, because there were just so many options and so many different takes that they were able to deliver, and different line deliveries that really hit. One of the things that I think I was able to sort of successfully avoid moments like that was because we were caught in the middle of the pandemic. And basically about after the first cut, like the very like zero edit, is the simplest version of the movie that it could possibly be. I screened it with our producer, and then 2 weeks later we were in the middle of a lockdown. And so it was the most painterly editing's ever been for me, because I didn't have like those outside voices coming in and giving me a lot of thoughts. We'd have review sessions, but all of it was almost all entirely text-based. So we just spend all this time like writing out these long diatribes, paragraphs of why we care so much about this moment or that moment. But in the end, what was really nice was like I was just the final deciding factor of it, and I didn't have that external force sort of going in and pushing it. And I'm very grateful that I had that as a first-time experience, because I mean, honestly, I don't think that experience will really ever happen again. Because in a
Right.
normal circumstance, you'd have people coming in, the executives coming in, giving their thoughts on the scene, recut, trying to find like their vision of it. And I didn't, it was painterly. And then I'd stop for a few days and try to get perspective on the scenes, which is also something I just normally don't have the time
Right.
to do.
Well, and here's the thing, and what's awesome is that you still have, what is it a 75-minute runtime?
Mhm.
Um, I also posted on Facebook that I said, I automatically, when I start watching a movie and I see the runtime is less than 90 minutes, I'm already a fan of the movie before, as it's starting. And I said, in this case, when a movie is like 75 minutes, I go, I want to send them cupcakes. Because so, but my point is that you give yourself enough breathing room so those moments land, so we're not just running ahead, on the pacing thing, and yet you're still delivering everything we need. You're not delivering a 2-hour movie. So again, like I said, I'm gonna just you're going to show this to everybody, just going, this guy just loves it, Jesus. But all right, but now let's talk about working with actors, because again, if you don't have those two um delivering for you, then you're fucked. um
Exactly.
Bottom line.
Yeah.
And so talk about how you your method communicating with actors, because sometimes
Mm.
we're just saying, you know um do it, here's your marching artist, here are your cues, here are your spots to hit, here are your marks. And then sometimes you've got an actor that, like a little kid, is going, but why? Well, because of this. But why? Well, because of this. Until you start questioning your existence in the universe, because
Oh
they
yeah.
keep asking. Right. Talk about your work
Yeah.
with these.
Yeah, I think a big part of that process, I think a lot of it is based on trust. A lot of it's based on that ability to connect. When Puya first read the script, we put out an offer to her, and then we got on Zoom or Skype. Sorry, this is how old this was. It was on Skype and not on Zoom. So we were talking, and she was like, before you say anything, I just want to like say my thoughts about the script and say my thoughts about what the character is. I was like, oh, of course. I was kind of nervous because I never talked to her before, and she just broke down every single character beat, what the character was thinking during these scenes, what the arcs of the story were, what the themes were. And I cried because I never had that sort of emotional collaboration, that emotional through line. So they made she and Lynn both made my life very much easier in that way. But a lot of it too was breaking down the characters during our rehearsal process, because our rehearsal process wasn't like a standard where we'd sit there and reread the script over and over again. It was a lot of building out their relationship and building out their connection together and what that meant. And a lot of that was like they went to LACMA, the Los Angeles County Museum of Art, together. They recorded some histories for the characters and developed that on their own. Chris and I had written out about a 5 or 6 page sort of whole history for these characters so that they could really dig in. And then once we got onto set, it was a lot of like, where can we like pull these elements out, all this history that you had sort of collected and built. But I think a lot of it just comes down to communication and openness. I try to like create a set that, I mean, a director's in control, but we don't always necessarily know what we're doing. So I think it's like it's good to like have that openness to degrees when you have collaborators that are willing to accept that. And since Lynn had just made her first film, Puya had produced and written a series of shorts, I think I came into our collaboration like they are my equals. They're not just actors. They're not just cattle that I'm saying go here, do this and do that. But it's like, let's have these really intimate, complicated discussions. And through that, then the trust was built to where, I kind of rewrote the climax of the movie the night before we were shooting, which shook them up, I think, a little bit. But I also had the faith in them. I was like, look, I know this is a lot. There's a lot to process. There's a lot of lines have changed, but I have faith in you. And I know that we can make it happen. And we just have to then we have to create an environment around them that allows them to have as much space as possible to become those characters.
Right. Okay. All right. So the last question I have for you, and it's something that I routinely ask filmmakers, and I haven't today for all the interviews I've been doing today, but you are the lucky person that gets it. Oftentimes, I think as filmmakers, we hit a point where we're going, "What the hell am I doing? Why did I start this? And why didn't I get another degree?
Why didn't someone stop me?
Yes, yeah, exactly. Why didn't someone intervene at some point, right? And then we'll watch a movie that reminds us of why. It was either a movie that was an inspiration, or it's a movie that we've watched 25 times and we go, that's why I'm doing this. That's why I'll do it again. It's because of this film. What is that film for you?
Ooh. In the Mood for Love by Wong Kar-wai. That one.
Oh, okay.
I remember watching that in high school on a really old TV in my parents' room. They were watching something downstairs. I was like, I'm not interested. I'm curious about this movie that I've been hearing so much about. And I watched it all the way through. And then I just like walked downstairs and I grabbed my mom and I was like, I'm sorry, you gotta watch it. I can't. I have to talk to somebody about this. This is crazy. And I just rewatched it recently with a friend of mine, another director friend who hadn't seen it. And it's just yeah, it's just, it just fills your heart with just like all the choices that he made, these choices that are so unconventional that other people like oftentimes say, oh, that's wrong. Right. But he did it with such confidence that it works. Like never seen the spouses' faces, or just the poetry of it and the frame rate, the slow motion, he just nailed it. And it just fills my heart with joy whenever I watch it.
That makes so much sense for you in this film. Holy crap. I totally see that. Jeez Louise. Well, listen, again, uh, I I can be annoying in a good way on behalf of the filmmakers and films because I can't stop talking about their films if I really do like them. And boy, I really do like this film.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Mark. Again, we've been talking with Mari Walker about the film See Then, which is screening at the Bentonville Film Festival. It's been really great talking movies with you.
It's been so great. Thank you so much.